West Africa is urging the Attorney General to intervene and have charges against Radio Adan journalist Noah Dame dropped. Mr. Dame has been the subject of police investigation since May 2022 when he was accused of publishing false information concerning founder of Electrochem, Daniel Macaulay. The company has been granted a lease to mine salt in the Adan area, but some residents believe it is not in the interest of the indigents. The Third World Network is concerned about the interests of the indigents and the situation, including the arrest of the journalist. My colleague Kwikwa Sante joins me with a copy of a statement issued by the Media Foundation for West Africa. Kwiku, what's the explanation given by the Media Foundation for West Africa reason they want the journalists not to be prosecuted?
So in this rather very lengthy letter written by the Media Foundation for West Africa, addressed to the Attorney General and Minister for Justice, they make the case. They talk about the facts of the matter, and they say that they are concerned about the plight of journalist Noah Dame of Radio Adan, based in the Greater Accra region of Ghana, who, in their view, is being abused by the police. They continue to give a certain background. They say that their appeal is concerned by the evolution of this case from a defamation complaint, which should have been a civil matter, to a criminal prosecution for alleged false publication. Indeed, what Media Foundation for West Africa is saying is if Mr. McDan is slighted by some of the things that have been said, and he feels that they are defamation, his recourse lies in civil law to go to court and vindicate his right, and not to use the police as a conduit to abuse the right of these journalists. It is in this view that they are calling on the Attorney General and Minister for Justice to intervene in this matter so that a matter that is purely civil will not be turned into a criminal one.
Right, Kwikwa Sante with those details from Media Foundation for West Africa, who are pleading that the journalists be pardoned and not prosecuted. Now, a private legal practitioner, Justin Sarawaja, who is also a former police officer, has called for the establishment of an independent police complaints commission to handle the misconduct of serving officers. According to him, the present structure where the police investigates itself does not promote professionalism and transparency. We'll be bringing you details of that report shortly, but let's move on to a community in the Wassa Amenfi West Municipality, Jantua Krom, where health workers there are impressed with the service of Zipline Drones Medical Services. According to the health workers, Zipline has positively impacted the lives of residents. Managers of the CHIPS compound there say the services of Zipline has made it very easier for them to have access to medications, especially anti-snake drugs, which formerly would have taken several days or weeks to get to the community. My colleague Samuel Kujo has more.
This is Jantua Krom, a farming community 3 hours drive from Asankragwa, the municipal capital of the Amenfi West Municipality of the Western region. This remote village is home to a tight-knit community of people who farm for a living. Their community is unfortunately connected by a terrible road network. The community has a CHIPS compound, which serves as the main source of healthcare for the people here and the many others surrounding this community. However, the CHIPS compound is plagued by several challenges. Ben Mieza is in charge of the Jantua Krom CHIPS compound.
Very challenging, but we are managing. Yes, very challenging. There is no light, and the staff do not have quarters for accommodation. So we are just managing, but it's challenging. Where we stay, we do not have permanent accommodation, so we use some of the facility as staff accommodation. And during that, we can't have space for both male and female when we are to detain people. For instance, somebody coming to labor and you need a space. A male too is occupying that same ward. It's either you decide the male to go home or to refer and attend to the delivery, or you let the delivery go ahead. It might be that the person might deliver on the way, and it's very bad. So we are just seeking that if it will be possible to get anybody to come and help us to have accommodation for staff, it will be very good for us.
Lack of electricity affects them badly because they are unable to store vaccines and other critical medicines.
We are supposed to vaccinate children every month. We have to move to the nearest community that's or Dankotoms for vaccine. Come and use them. After that, you have to send it back, which also affects us. If in transport, there can be anything. If there is vaccine here, we'll use it and keep it. But because you don't have a vaccine fridge and light, you have to go and put the vaccine in the light. You can get accident on the way, and that is a fact. If we're having our own light, we're getting a fridge and we're putting our vaccines here. Even in some of the things that we use, especially oxytocin, they are supposed to be in a cold pack. We don't have light here, so there's no fridge for you to keep the oxy, and it's also a problem. So if you have light, so many things can be done, and health delivery will be very smooth for all of us.
The CHIPS compound, due to the distant nature of the community, had been battling with the difficulty in transporting their medical supplies, such as vaccines, to the facility. But today, with the drone services provided by Zipline, medical supplies, including vaccines, are supplied directly to the CHIPS compound, bypassing the poor road infrastructure that otherwise made it difficult to transport medical supplies.
In our Ramadan series, health experts say intermittent fasting during breastfeeding is risky because it can negatively affect the nutritional requirement for new mothers and newborns. But what options are available to Muslim women across the world who are obliged to fast during the holy month of Ramadan? Joy News' Bono East correspondent Anas Sabit seeks some answers from health experts.
Fasting from dawn to dusk may affect the biochemical or nutrient content of the breast milk to a certain extent. Experts say fasting the month of Ramadan for lactating mothers may be a bit risky, as it can be a challenge to meet caloric, nutritional and fluid requirements for new mothers as well as their babies. But as Muslims observe this holy month, how many people are aware of these developments with limited information on this subject? We engage a public health nurse at the Teachman Holy Family Hospital, Zufau Ahmed, to throw more light on this.
Fasting in breastfeeding and pregnant women is not advisable. In either case, if the woman would want to fast, should seek the help of a health worker. When a woman who is breastfeeding fasts, there's the likelihood that it will reduce caloric intake and also water intake. So obviously, it can cause dehydration. And we know that milk, more than 50% of milk is made up of water. So if a woman should be dehydrated, it means that it will affect the milk supply. So the baby wouldn't be getting enough breast milk.
Zulfao tells me that aside the effects of this on the baby, the breastfeeding mother is equally affected, as the baby would always want to lunch on the breast milk of the mother.
And after more than 20 years, the Joy FM Easter Soup Kitchen made a stop at the Weija Leprosarium. Management and some on-air presenters, including Edem Naite and Mama Viuso Abuaji, dined and danced with residents of the shelter. Management of the Leprosarium is calling for help with essential items, including food, medical materials, and financial aid, as they strive to keep up with the ballooning demands of their residents. Here are assets of the day's event.
This is the Weija Leprosarium, and this year, Joy FM Easter Soup Kitchen is here. Just to tell you a little bit about the Leprosarium before I talk to the managers itself. The Leprosarium has been operating since 1950, well over 70 years now. And this is a place where people living with leprosy come to seek refuge. It is one of many shelters across the country, but this is its headquarters and arguably the largest of its installment. But this year, Joy FM has chosen on Easter Monday to spend a full day with the residents here. And this is part of its Easter Soup Kitchen project that has been running since the year 2000. They are here to spend the day, to dine and bond with the residents here.
Well, I'm with Father Campbell. He founded the Lepers Aid Committees more than
Joy 99.7 FM.
So, Father, thank you for allowing us to share Easter Monday with you.
We are so happy that you've come here to share such joy and happiness with all our dear residents here. The way they've been stigmatized over the years is awful. For this little girl, we sent a team up to Wa to distribute food. And in their distribution of food, they found this little girl. She was abandoned. The family have abandoned her. The mother ran away. The grandfather said she's not human because she's leprosy, and he wanted to do rituals. So they just abandoned her. We took her here, and we've had to bring her to so many doctors since she came here. One being a psychiatrist, because she wouldn't talk. She just talks a little. She's learning how to talk. But she was so traumatized the way they treated her up in the north. Happy. You see, if you make somebody happy, you'll be happy.
Yes.
That's my philosophy. Make somebody happy. Make this little girl happy. If you make her happy, you'll be happy.
Let's take a break on Joy News today. We'll be back with business.
Hi, good afternoon. Warm welcome to the business segment on Joy News today with me, Pius Kojo Baka. Straight up, government is expected to finalize negotiations with all its interested parties in its International Monetary Fund support program in the coming weeks. This should help Ghana secure an IMF deal no later than May this year. My colleague George Yafi reports from USA.
We understand that the majority of these negotiations with the interested parties, like the Paris Club, Ghana's bilateral partners, and the group of 20 developed economies, will be closed in the next few days. This should pave the way for Ghana to then formally submit its economic program and letter of intent signed by the Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta and the Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Ernest Addison, to the African Department of the IMF, the necessary scrutiny, as well as other departments like legal at the IMF. This will now pave the way for Ghana to request for an executive board meeting to consider its program request. Sources say Ghana is likely to get a slot at the end of this month, or possibly the middle of May this year, for the IMF board to consider its request and possible approval.
We shall be bringing you more in our subsequent bulletins from Washington, D.C. Now, back to Ghana. The Ghana Hotels Association is calling for the promotion of domestic tourism in other parts of the country. Dr. Edward Akanyamike Jr. is the president of the Ghana Hotels Association.
I have said it somewhere that the Easter in Kwewu model is one excellent model for domestic tourism. And if we could replicate that in all parts of Ghana, it will really help us a lot. And I believe that that's what is going on. Because basically, the whole tourism concept is about identifying a destination, creating that attraction, and making sure that there's access and there's amenities, the security issues, safety issues. Once those things are provided for, you get people flowing to the place, and so you create that need. I mean, Easter in Kwewu has become more like an annual ritual, if I should put it that way, where people look forward to it. Okay, so if you could create the same thing, similar things across the country. Now the masquerade carnival in the Western region, Sakrade, is becoming another one which people look up to. So you can imagine if we do this across the country, and these things occur at different times of the year, it will be a very big boost in the domestic tourism. So I believe that the Ghana Tourism Authority and the ministry are really getting it right in some of these destinations. I think if they promote it and push it in other regions, the cumulative effect will be very good for the economy.
And that's it for business for now. I am Pius Kojo Baka. I will be back with the marketplace at 1 p.m.
Let's do sports now on Joy News today with me, Muftau Nabila Abdullah. Later today, the Black Queens will come up against Senegal in an international friendly at the Accra Sports Stadium. It is the third friendly match the Black Queens will be playing, having already played Benin and the Senegalese a couple of days ago. Head coach of the team, Nora Haptol, has been speaking about the importance of such international friendlies that will put her team in good shape to compete against the rest in the continent.
Yes, of course. I mean, at the moment we're still in a process where we need to bring our squad together, bring the puzzle pieces together to a big collective. We are flying in international players. We have over 70 players abroad in the nationals. So for us, it's important to bring them in. It's a long travel for them. But I'm very happy that, like Asuma, those players are flying in. They bring us a lot of quality. But besides, we also work with the domestic squad. So it's also important they are very young in our league. You know, most of the players are under 20 years old. So we want to bring the young talents in. Some we brought on the pitch are 16, 17 years old. The striker we brought in. So at the moment, it's finding a bit the right structure players, but then adding also some young talents. All in all, yes.
Former Vice President of the Ghana Football Association, George Free, has tasked the leadership of the Ghana Football Association to make a case before government on why it is important that state agencies in the country support Ghana Premier League. According to him, he does not understand why that government is always able to raise money when it comes to the Black Stars, but the GFA finds it very difficult in generating revenue for the administration of club football.
I have a different approach.
Okay, tell me about it.
To securing sponsorship for a product like the Premier League.
Okay.
And I'll explain. You see, I find it difficult to understand that when the Black Stars are playing, we can get all the resources from government to fund it. But when the teams like House of Folk Kotoko are participating in club competitions in Africa, we can't fund same. I find it difficult to understand. I think that the FA need to sit down with the sports ministry and make a case.
For that matter, government?
Yes. To make a case that yes, our number one product, apart from the Black Stars, and in terms of football in Ghana, I'm talking of the Premier League, we need the government help for some state agencies to support the Premier League. Elsewhere, it's done. Well, if you have a good rapport and you are able to explain, you are able to put the numbers on the table to explain to government that no, Mr. President, can you speak to Ghana Gas, GMPC, Vodafone to come to our aid? I think that if you make a genuine case and the president can understand that yes, our number one league in Ghana needs sponsorship and the state must find a way to sponsor, why not?
That's your sports now. We do have more sports stories on myjoyonline.com and also at 2 p.m. when we come your way with Sports Today. We appreciate your company.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Showbiz here on Joy News Today. In our stories this afternoon, as part of his tour dubbed Basket Mouth Unprovoked, Nigerian comedian Bright Okocha made a stop in Ghana after performing at various venues across the world. The event, organized by Event Factory at the Conference Center, received some commendable reviews by patrons.
Woman in me came outside that night. As I wake up, I said, Jack, what are you doing?
You know what they say? That there is nothing in the world so irresistibly contagious as laughter and good humor. And so patrons of the Easter comedy show headline by legendary comedian Basket Mouth were treated to the best of rip-cracking jokes.
She went to bring my car battery.
I've been to a couple. I've never witnessed the legend. I've been a fan for a very long time. I used to
what's up?
Here. I used to go on YouTube and watch this man. So just having an opportunity to be here to watch him live. And I knew he's a legend. And I thought I was going to be focusing more of the performance because it's different when you're watching on TV. But it literally felt like that, even better. You know, and I'm impressed. I've been laughing throughout the whole set. It was great. I think it's always a blessing that people like him, a legend, can still, you know, at least we work to a point where your name could be dropped in a big set like that. So it's an honor.
It's Easter, so like the few Ghanaians who decided not to go to Kwawu came around for us to make them laugh. And so it was my duty as a comedian to crack these people up, and I really enjoyed them, especially because it was a mixed crowd. There's a Ghanaian crowd, there's Nigerians seated amongst each other. So it's lovely entertaining people of different cultures like that. You can pick on different cultures, and then, yeah. So I really enjoyed this performance.
Even before I started comedy, he's one of the few people that I admired his craft. I never thought that moments like this will come where I'll be be on the same stage with him. It's a beautiful experience that I can't find words to express it. I would say it's a dream come true. When the call came through that he needed me to be on as an MC, I said, why not? This is what we all been fighting for, a huge platform like this. So yeah.
Always Ghana has been positive energy, especially when it comes to comedy. They have that, you know, very welcoming when it comes to comedy. So it was really exciting this time around. I loved it. Energy, all those points. So yeah.
It was fun. It was fun. It was exciting, and this is my first time going on stage as a first act in a long while. So yeah, I was a bit, you know, as a normal performer, it comes with all the, you know, anxiety, the nervousness, etc. But yeah, it was awesome. It was great. I loved it, and I did my best.
Then I saw other talents, including Obian Ponsa.
They were screening our military, our policemen. That part was like.
Foster Romanos, Lexi the Commie, and Buchi all take turns to ensure that laughter was dominant.
I got to meet the other Nigerians. Okay, you some allow him now, madam, allow him. What if it's a matter of life and death?
Basket Mouth is the brain behind the Unprovoked tour, Ghana.
Love it, I love it. Accra, Ghana, thank you so much. You guys are amazing, man. You guys made me feel good. Yeah, love it.
What's different about this one? I know that you have another show back home in Nigeria, and you spoken about all the tours that but this particular show in Ghana, has it been, you know, difficult for you putting it together?
No, it's not. I have an amazing team, so I don't feel the pressure. My business is just to promote the show as much as I can, as hard as I can, and, you know, make people know about it. But the team working behind the scene, they're very amazing, you know, flawless when it comes to execution. And yeah, they don't make it easy. My own performance, you know, it's a gift. I just do it.
Comedy in Ghana is on the rise. Do watch out for an event near you. Rebecca Darkon for Joy News.
On that note, we end Showbiz here on Joy News today. There's more Showbiz news in our subsequent bulletins. Good afternoon to you, Aisha.
Good afternoon, beautiful Becky. That's how we wrap up the bulletin this afternoon. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. Do enjoy the rest of our programs.